I think that a large part of why things are so bad now is because the main pillars of liberalism have completely failed us. The media, the unions, the Democrats, and the universities have all succumbed to that fist you're speaking of. And one of the things they did earliest on was they got rid of the radicals, who are always kind of the spiritual or moral force of the left, you know, and always push the liberals to not compromise so hard or so much. And I think that it's my understanding that Chattanooga has been very unique in that we were one of the 3 cities in the country that was home to the headquarters of the Communist Party of the United States of America. And so I was wondering and hoping that if you could speak to that, about the history of that here and what happened to them.
1930s, there was an incident. This was when the last depression was going on. A lot of people was riding trains without paying. And the railroads arrested and beat people they caught on the trains that hadn't bought tickets. Well, at Paint Rock, Alabama, they stopped the train, and there was 2 white girls on the train. They didn't want to get busted for, you know, violating the hoboing laws. So they said, we were raped by blacks. There was 12 blacks on at this end, and they raped us. And they did apprehend 12 blacks, and they hadn't been around for it. They didn't even know there was any white women there. So they took them to Scottsboro, Alabama, and only the timely arrival of the National Guard prevented them from being immediately lynched. And there was a couple of attorneys brought in to try to help them. They were called the Scottsboro Boys. NAACP refused to do anything for them. That's too controversial, NAACP said. I mean, we don't want controversial stuff. So Communist Party USA came and they saved them. And they did underhanded things. I mean, they had rallies all over the world. In every rally you'd have half a dozen black women. This one Scottsboro mothers. And the boys could have had that many mothers. But it worked. And they eventually got all of them pardoned except one, and he escaped. Nobody got killed. And this was a great success for CPUSA. And CPUSA in this era was very successful in Chattanooga. This was one of the 3 centers for the party. Here in New York and San Francisco. And New York published the Daily Worker, and San Francisco published the Hammer and Sickle. Chattanooga published the Hammer and Hoe. Hoe being the digging implement, the other term for hoe. And they had a rally here in, I think it was 33 or 35, something like that they totally maxed out the Memorial Auditorium. And up until the party was outlawed, there was a Communist Party headquarters here. And when they built the interstate, they deliberately ran the 24th section going north. It's off Broad, it's on Broad Street, but where the freeway crosses Broad Street, they took out the party headquarters. That is where I do have a photograph of it. And when, of course, everybody went underground when the party was outlawed, because just being a member, you went to prison. When that was repealed in the early 1970s, there was about a dozen local people, none of which would admit it now, but I know who their names are, signed a petition to get the party back on the ballot. And some of these are people that you would never think of doing it today. Speaking of people being what you wouldn't think of, 3 or 4 years ago, a person on Lookout Mountain was going through their attic, and they found a membership book for the Ku Klux Klan. And they wanted to donate it to the Regional History Museum. And they brought it down and gave it to the woman, and she looked at it, and she sadly shook her head and said, "We can't accept this, because it's got the names of some of the leading citizens of Chattanooga." Now, do all of you know where the place called Blues Orleans is?
Yes.
at Market and Main. Used to be a bank building. When it was being renovated on the second floor, they found very artistic murals, and it's tall as this wall, on all four walls. Like Birth of a Nation picture with the Klansmen in costume on horseback holding a flaming torch. That's where they had their meetings in Chattanooga. And that was immediately destroyed by the contractor because it would bring shame to Chattanooga. However, I got there and I got some photographs. I've got pictures of that too.